Here with the Matt Cutrer Report, and we're back with a little more podcasting action. And today we have a very special guest in studio. This is Alejandro Castañon. Thank you for doing this.
Yeah,
Sincerely.
my pleasure.
Yeah,
it was
awesome.
cool.
So glad to have you here. Man, I'm excited. There's some really cool stuff going on. I want to dive into some stuff about your background, to you as an artist. There's a lot I want to ask you.
Okay.
So I'm pretty excited. Before we go any further, though, we're going to do our elevator pitch. So I kind of explained this to you. You got 30 seconds. Just tell the audience who you are, what you do, that kind of deal.
Sure. My name's Alejandro Castañon. I am a professional artist. I used to own an art gallery here back in 2011, 2019. And ever since then, I've just been painting and helping other artists figure out their way here in the community.
Yeah.
And aside from that, I love breakdancing. I love skateboarding. I love reading, hanging out with my wife and our cats, and spending time with my kids.
Yeah. All right. Man, that was a good one. Very cool. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, I want to know straight off a little bit about your background. So where you said English is not your first language.
No.
So tell us where you're from and kind of how growing up, like how that was for you.
Yeah, for sure. Really kind of weird background, but I'll condense it. I was born in Mexico, and my dad and my mother are both Mexican. My father joined the military right after I was born in the U.S. Air Force. And so as soon as he was finished with training, we really just all came together and started moving around as military families do.
Yeah.
And so I spent a few years in the United States. I don't really remember a whole lot of it. Most of my youth was spent overseas in Europe. So we were in Spain for a few years. We went to Germany for quite a few years as well. I graduated high school, and we landed here. My dad's last assignment was at Goodfellow. So that's how I ended up here in San Angelo, was because of the military through him.
Yeah.
But growing up, I spoke Spanish first, and started to learn English in grade school, and up until middle school, I started kind of mastering English.
Yeah.
So that's kind of where I grew up and how I ended up here in San Angelo.
Dude, that's wild. I didn't know that. So you were a military kid, military brat, as they say.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. So you spent time, you said in Spain,
Yeah.
and I knew you had spent time in Germany.
Yeah.
Was it Frankfurt area, or were you in?
Yeah, Frankfurt, all over really. Frankfurt area.
Hanover at all?
I've been to Hanover, but mostly Ramstein, which is the big Air Force hub there.
Yeah.
And so I spent most of my youth in that western part of Germany.
Yeah. Did you enjoy that?
Oh, it was an amazing.
I love Germany.
I really didn't know what to compare it to. Growing up over there, we would try to vacation in the United States sometimes, and I remember coming to the States and I was like, wow, it's so different over here. Like the malls are different, the roads are different, the culture's different.
Yeah.
And so, growing up over there and then coming here was such a huge adjustment for me.
Yeah.
I ended up actually finishing my high school. I got my diploma from Ramstein, but I actually finished high school at Central.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, I finished
Okay.
from like March of 01 till June.
Very cool.
So just a few months at Central.
See, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
I got to tell you, so I got to tell you 2 to 3 stories from my experience in Germany, and then I want you to tell me a couple maybe that are relatable.
Okay, yeah, go for it.
So my first trip to Germany, when I got married, I married a German woman who was from Germany.
Wow.
I think you know Nora. And she, great person. Her parents still live in Germany. And so it was very important to her that, she introduced me to her culture, and I was all about it. And so the first time we went there, this is kind of interesting. I met her parents, and they live in this really nice neighborhood. One's a professor and her mom's an English teacher at a high school, but they live this nice life, nice neighborhood. And so she was like, we're going to go for a walk around the neighborhood. And I was like, yeah, awesome. And so we start walking around the neighborhood, and it was dusk, and there were a lot of other people walking around.
Sure.
Well, I grew up in Texas, and so we're passing these people. Every time we pass somebody, I'm like, hey, how you doing? Hey, howdy, how's it going? How you doing? And nobody's responding. And I kind of start getting the feeling that Nora and her parents are kind of thrown off by it. And so eventually she leans over and she goes, hey, you might want to stop doing that. And I was like, why? I'm just being friendly. And she's like, yeah, it's just we don't really do that here unless you know them, It's just you politely ignore each other, sort of. And so it was literally embarrassing her parents. Like, and I had to take a step back and be like, okay, hold on a second. Like, this is a different culture. Like, I have to respect that, and it was a wake up call for me, because at first I was like, man, that's rude. Like, why can't I say hi to somebody? But I respected that. And then the second thing that I thought was interesting was, in Germany, there are bathroom attendants everywhere you go,
Yeah.
that sit outside the bathroom.
Yeah.
You pay €1 to go to the restroom.
Right.
And at first I was like, man, that stings me. No matter where you go, you got to pay to go to the bathroom. But on the other hand, I didn't see one restroom that was not spick and span, absolutely pristine, clean. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So are there any things like that, like cultural things that you
yeah.
thought were interesting, that were different?
Yeah. In fact, it was the opposite when I came
Yeah.
here. I was so like, why is everybody so friendly here?
Yeah.
Like everybody's saying
Yeah.
hi to me. Like I don't know anybody here.
Yeah.
So that was kind of refreshing for me. I mean,
Yeah.
there was like a balance between living on the installation, which was pretty much Americans,
Yeah.
and then going out into the German community,
Yeah.
and you would definitely see the contrast there. So you had to kind of adjust. But every city is a little different in Germany. It's like the way that Germans speak in the north
That's right.
are very different than the way they speak in the southern
That's
area.
right.
So
Exactly.
the culture is also different in that sense.
Yep.
So you might go to a different city and find that the neighborhood is more friendly in that sense. So I think it really does depend on where you are in Germany.
Yeah. That reminded me of something else. I was with my ex-wife and we were in Austin, I think it was. And there were these two guys sitting behind us and they were speaking a foreign language. And we were listening and I said, that's German, right? And she said, no, I don't think so. And so, of course, I mean, she's a native German speaker. Sure. So I believed her. But then we introduced ourselves to these two guys. And sure enough, they were speaking German, but they were from Bavaria. I go, you're telling me you couldn't recognize that was German? And she's like, I'm telling you, it's so different. Yeah. Like she couldn't pick up on it at first that it was German they were speaking. So that's really interesting.
I wonder if, like when I was learning English, it was really hard for me to detect anybody that was from the deep south, like Louisiana.
Yeah.
I had such a hard time trying to understand what they were saying. And
yeah.
when I was in the military, I got stationed in Little Rock, Arkansas.
Oh yeah.
And
my dad lived there.
The southern accent in Arkansas is so drawn out.
Yeah.
That I remember when we went there, and I had already been to Texas. So like when I was there, my shop foreman, because I was in a construction crew on the base, and the shop foreman was saying something to me and I couldn't understand what he was trying to tell me.
Yeah.
And by that time I was already 19, 20 years old. So
and you were fluent in English.
Of course. Yeah, completely. But I had limited interactions with Southern accents. So I wonder if other people that, English is their second language run into the issues with different accents from different parts of the country.
Yeah. I'm sure, especially that, like you're saying, that deep South accent. It is sometimes I can't understand what they're saying, so I get that.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It's wild how different how languages are different across different countries.
Yeah. Was it like that? I mean, did you spend much time though in Mexico?
Not really. Not until recently, actually.
Oh, cool.
The last time I was down there was when I was 14. We went to El Paso and crossed the border where my grandmother was living at the time, and that was really my last one until these last couple of years when we've been going back to go visit. Yeah.
Wow.
So I really didn't, even growing up in Germany, the only other Mexicans I knew were my parents.
Yeah.
I didn't know any other Mexicans over there. So I grew up very isolated from the culture. Like coming here, even to San Angelo, I had never had a Dia de los Muertos, I never went to an event like that. I didn't know any of the music, Tejano music. Wow. I really hadn't tried a lot of the different Mexican cuisine that comes from Mexico here in Texas, even if it's Tex-Mex.
Man, that's fascinating.
I'd never
had your own culture. Yeah,
I'd never had it before. My mother's a great cook. She's a wonderful cook, but I only had her food and her version of it.
Right.
So coming here, it was also my first interaction with Mexican culture here in San Angelo.
Yeah. What was that like? Was it were you like, give me more of it? Like I want to experience it all. Yeah.
It was a lot of that, but there were people that, because I would speak Spanish to people here, and my Spanish wasn't the same.
Yep.
It was very much European Spanish.
Right.
So I had to adjust to that as well. And people were like, "You're not from here, are you? Like you're not from Mexico." I'm like, "No, I am. I'm just not. I didn't come there from there directly."
Yeah.
And so it was definitely a lot more on my side of being interested in what else there was to discover about
For
the
sure.
culture. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was wild.
That's cool, man.
Yeah.
And so after you graduated high school, you graduated from Central.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you said you went to the military. Did you
Mhm.
do that immediately?
It's been about a year.
Okay.
Just kind of, I worked at the ASU cafeteria, Sitel,
Yeah.
when that was up,
Yeah.
I did a few jobs. Where Joe's Italian is, I was a busboy there.
At Joe's Italian?
Yeah,
What year?
Well, it was La Scala back then.
Oh, okay.
It was La Scala
Wow.
back
I
then.
worked there in 2001 as a busboy, but then I became a server, and I wasn't even technically allowed to be a server at 15 years old.
That was around the same time I was
Was
there.
it really?
Yeah. Yeah, we
Dude, that's
we
wild.
might have been there at around the same
I
time.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
might have been.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crazy. So what branch did you go into?
Air Force too, like my dad.
Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I did that for 8 years, and
Whoa.
it was an interesting time. Got a lot of experience out of that.
Yeah.
Did a few different jobs actually, which is kind of wild. Mostly, when you go to the military, there's usually only 1 or 2 jobs you end up doing, but I
Yeah.
did like 3 or 4 different jobs when I
Oh,
was in.
nice.
So I really got a lot of exposure to just different types of training and different environments, and so yeah, it was kind of interesting.
Yeah. So that's not something you wanted to do long term though, like as a career?
I was going to
Yeah.
do it. The problem was that at the time, my daughter and her mother ended up moving here to San Angelo, and I wanted to be closer here. So I actually asked if I could get assigned to Dias because the job that I had wouldn't allow me to go to Goodfellow. So I was like, I'd love to go to Dias, and ended up they wanted to send me to Korea for a year, and I just wasn't willing to be. It's a remote assignment, so you go to Korea, you don't get to leave
Wow.
until you're done with that
Yeah.
assignment. And so I wasn't willing to do that. I didn't want to be away from my daughter that long, so I just punched out at that point.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make it a career, but I'm glad I didn't. I
Yeah.
was so much happier with that decision after I arrived here.
Yeah.
Even though it was
I feel
hard,
you.
even though it was hard at first, it was still worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel you on that.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about, so you as an artist, before we kind of dive into how all that started, really.
Yeah.
What would you consider your style? Is it pop art? Is it what is it considered your style?
I started off, I think, in pop art
Okay.
just because I'm self-taught, so I didn't really know what I was doing or
Mhm.
how I was going to approach art. Didn't have any formal training at all.
Wow.
And so I just gravitated to the first thing I think that just kind of resonated with me.
Yeah.
And just to preface that, like, I'm a narcissist. I've been diagnosed with
I want to
narcissism.
talk to you about that, man.
Yeah, I
think
post about it
that's-
sometimes on
I
Facebook.
no, I love that you're
Yeah.
very self-aware and you
Yeah.
talk about it. I would love to talk to you about that.
Yeah. And so at the time, my narcissism was really starting to peak a little bit at that time when I became an artist. And really when I fell into an art career is when our narcissism just took hold.
Yeah.
And I just was like feeding a monster at that point.
Oh, yeah.
And it's interesting when I started to look back at that time period after I went to therapy and stuff like that, there was a correlation between artists that make art as well as people that consume it that gravitate to art that doesn't have a lot of emotional depth.
Okay.
Narcissists don't have a connection to their own emotions. So if that's true, which it is, then how can they possibly create artwork that it's supposed to be emotive
Exactly.
or
yeah.
or evoke an emotion
Right.
if they're not familiar with? They might do it on accident.
Yeah.
You might capture
What
something
about
that
faking it? What about, the
you can't really fake it. You can emulate
yeah.
something that's akin to it,
Okay.
and you might land on that by accident,
Yeah.
but you won't be aware of what you're creating and
Okay.
why.
Okay.
It might be an imitation of an emotion.
Whoa, yeah.
And so I found out that I think it made a lot of sense that I gravitated to pop art because pop art really doesn't evoke emotion.
Yeah. Okay.
It's more about the zeitgeist and popular culture.
yeah.
And in
Nice.
that sense, I think people can resonate with it on a surface level.
Yep.
But there was an interesting article I read, which was that when you do a Rorschach test,
Mhm.
the ink blot test, and you look at the pattern
Oh,
to
yes.
see what it is. For people that look at it and they can only see what the image resembles, like if it looks like obviously like a bird,
Mhm.
they just see a bird.
Yeah.
Other people that are more in connection with their emotions, they might actually see a traumatic event
Yeah.
in that nobody else can see,
Right.
because they're
Okay.
connected to that emotion.
Yeah.
Narcissists will only see whatever the ink blot looks like.
Okay.
A bird, a person's face, but nothing that will connect to who they are, what they've been through.
Okay.
And so because I didn't have that and this goes back to your question, for the for the bigger part of my career as an artist, I only painted things that I could see but didn't feel.
I see. Mm-hmm.
And so to answer your question about that, I was more of a pop artist
Okay.
in that sense. And
Sure.
I've been lately just moving away from that after
Interesting.
going through therapy and all that good
Yeah.
stuff and connecting more with, my own emotions and past and traumas and all that good stuff. Yeah.
Man, this is good stuff. Like, no, you being wanting to talk about this is really neat to me, just because I think a lot of people deal with this issue and it's taboo or whatever. They don't want to talk about it. They're ashamed behind it, whatever. But I feel like a lot of people could learn a lot and relate to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and so I think
absolutely.
it's important.
It is.
And so I think that's cool that you're brave enough to do that. I really do, man.
Yeah,
I would love to talk more about that.
Yeah, I'm an open book, really.
That's great, man. I love that. So before we get into that, though,
Sure.
I want to talk. This story kind of fascinates me for some reason. I said, what? Before we started rolling, I said, what's the very first thing that you tried to draw?
Right.
And you said, I'll let you tell it again.
Yeah, I was 9 years old. I was really into comic books. So I was a big fan of Spider-Man when I was 9, and I opened up a page in the comic book that I really, really liked. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna take a little college rule paper and some colored pencils. And I just tried to draw it by looking at the page, not tracing it or anything like that. And I tried to draw it from, just from looking. And that was my first experience with art.
Yeah.
I would do a little bit of graffiti when I was a teenager.
Like literally like outside on sidewalks and stuff? Okay,
yeah, it wasn't nothing where I was trained in graffiti. It was
Right.
just me messing around. And I would have like a little, they call it a bomb book. So I would, have little doodles and stuff like that. But after high school, I really didn't take it anything serious. I thought that, hey, I could draw a little bit, but I never really got anywhere with that. It never really resonated with me. I was like, oh, I'm going to become an artist. No, I never really thought
Whoa.
that. Never really thought that at all. I was like, okay, I'm going to choose a career. Military sounds good.
Yeah.
Why don't I go in that direction? And I just forgot about art altogether. Yeah.
That, man, you don't hear that very often. Somebody who is an artist, you know what I mean, for a living, you don't hear that.
Yeah.
That's very
It's a
interesting.
bit of a
to
late
me.
bloomer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so when you did that drawing, though, was it something that you really enjoyed? Like you were like, man, I'm getting a lot of joy out of doing this. Like, it's fun to me.
Yeah, I do remember it. I remember the experience, and I really did like it. And of course, I did more doodles and stuff like that. I didn't know anybody else in my family, friends, community. I knew one person that was a portrait artist at our local mall or whatever at Ramstein that did portraiture, but I was like, oh, I don't want to paint people that like now that's what I do. But I was like, back then I was like, oh, I don't want to draw pictures of families. Like, I don't want to do that. And I've done that. But at that time, I just didn't see it as appealing.
So what changed? Like, what was there a moment when it was like, man, this is what I want to pursue?
I would say it's whenever I opened the gallery with Crystal Goodman. And
what year was that?
That was 2011.
Okay.
And she was leading all of I was more the business manager.
Okay.
Yeah. She was leading all the creative, teaching the classes, and I was there to assist, really.
Yeah.
And on breaks, and I was handing out paint and, cleaning up and helping her, really. And on breaks, I would just, draw, just get back to do. I mean, there was all this art around me. So I just was inspired at that point by the local art community. And I was just drawing. And one day she pulled me to the side and she was like, oh, wow, I didn't know you could draw. I was like, I doodle or whatever. And she was like, well, have you thought about painting? And I was like, not really. She was like, well, we've got plenty of supplies.
Yeah.
There's no excuse why you shouldn't be doing it. And she was like, pull up a canvas and just start and I'll guide you. And she did. She gave me great guidance and her knowledge up to that point that I felt like would help me, move on. And at a certain point, she was like, I can't do anything else for you, really.
Really? Yeah.
She was like, now you're off on your own.
All the fundamentals, basically.
Basically. And she was like, now you're off on your own. You have to kind of learn, where you are at your skill level to build on that.
Yeah.
And so I took that seriously and I really started building on that and trying different things and ended up really coming along. And one thing led to another. It was just like, the community really was the thing that helped support me in my desire to learn more.
Yeah.
Everybody was either supportive by purchasing artwork that I made or giving me guidance and mentorship to bring me along.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that really encouraged me, that made me
Yeah.
feel like I could actually do it.
Whoa.
If I didn't have the guidance or the support from the community, I don't think it would have turned into much,
Whoa.
because
That's
I didn't have
cool.
my own emotional investment in
Yeah.
that. You get what
Yeah.
I'm saying?
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I really owe a lot to the community in that sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when you started doing that, kind of diving into it, you learned the fundamentals. Was there another artist locally that kind of took you under their wing to mentor you even further, or was it just you kind of just went on your own at that point and
There
started?
was several artists that I think, I mentioned Crystal Goodman.
Mm-hmm.
I can mention several actually. Warren Taylor, who's a retired artist, watercolorist,
Mm-hmm.
great mentor of mine, really helped me. Raul Ruiz.
Yeah.
I've known him since I first started.
Nah. What about Renee Alvarado?
Renee, I didn't get to know him until last year.
Cool.
Surprisingly, like me and him
I
are
love
friends.
him, man.
We and
Yeah.
him are friends now. I've been over to his house a few
Yeah.
times. He's really great.
Yeah.
But in the early years, it was more of the artists that I think were inside the gallery showing.
Okay. Yeah.
You had Gabriel on. I remember having a lot of interactions with him
Yeah.
at the beginning, as well as several other local artists that,
Yeah.
I wish I could name all of them right now,
Right.
but they know who they are when they were in the gallery, and those were the ones that I would owe a lot of
Yeah.
that mentorship to.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So do you remember the first painting that you sold?
Yes.
What was it?
It was a Marilyn Monroe painting.
Yeah.
It was a portrait that I was just playing with, and there were 3 layers of different Marilyn Monroe portraits that were just awful. And the last one that I did was the one that I thought was like, this is good enough.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was the first one that I painted and it sold.
Nice.
Yeah.
So here I relate this sort of for me it was fitness. I had a gym for 11 years, and everything about that my identity was tied into it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it was part of who I was, and so I was thinking about that. Was it like that for
Yeah.
you too? Yeah.
I was just about to ask you that question.
Yeah.
Like, was it difficult for you when it was like, I'm not assuming you have it anymore, but whenever it was transitioning out of the gym, was it difficult for you to let it go?
Dude, it was one of the hardest things I've ever done.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember the last session I had after 11 years. I was sitting there with the lights on, and my dad actually came by, and I was like, well, I just did the last session in my gym. And after that happened, I sort of had like a crisis. Like I didn't know what I was supposed to do, and I knew I loved training clients and helping people,
Sure.
and that I was going to continue doing that. And so I still actually train Gym 28, and where we see each other. And but it was just kind of on the side, and I was like, I don't know what to do from here. This is who I am, and I didn't want to let that go. And then God put something else in front of my path, and it was like, it was so crazy because I was like, you know what? There's nothing in the world that I could be more passionate about than fitness. And then he put something right in my path unexpectedly that I was more passionate about, which is great, which is media, which is this, is people. And it's incredible. And so what do you mean for you though, in that way? Is that happening for you right now?
That happened back in 2019 for
Okay.
me, that transition, letting go of the gallery.
Yeah.
was a definitely a financial decision. But it was also weighing on me,
Oh, yeah.
the bills and,
Yep.
the pressure. And then you end up, you make certain decisions that I think it sort of dilutes your initial intention for
Yep.
keeping the place.
Mm-hmm.
So it takes, the creative part takes a back seat to the money.
That's right.
And when that happens, it's kind of like the beginning of the end. When
Mhm.
that's the beginning of it is definitely showing that it might be time to either change
Yeah.
things to get back on the track or let it go.
Yep.
And that took a while for me to see that finally.
Yeah.
I suffered a lot to try to keep it going. And
Same
again,
here.
I think my own narcissism was keeping me tied to that because like you said, I identified myself with the gallery. I was like,
Yep.
well, if I don't own a gallery,
That's right.
then how will I keep all the respect and admiration
Yep.
that I so desperately need to hold on to?
Yeah.
And so when I let go of it, it kind of was showing myself that I am not the gallery.
Uh-huh.
It was the other way around. Whatever I was doing in the gallery was more of a function of what I could do,
Yeah.
rather than my whole identity.
Yep.
So that means I could take whatever energy I'd put into the gallery and put it into something
That's right.
else. And
Yep.
and that would be the new thing. But I still had to battle with the idea of needing to feed my ego with something else.
Yeah.
And that's where it kind of started, where I needed to really figure out what was going on with me. I didn't even know I was a narcissist at the time.
Yeah.
It didn't happen till I would say later, 2019. It was later that year.
Yeah.
Where I was like, oh my God, I'm a narcissist.
Really?
And I was like, I got to fix this.
How did that come about? Like, what sparked, for you to go to therapy or to look into that you might be,
without getting too much, because it involves other people that
sure.
I don't want to put their business out there. But it did have to do with a personal relationship that I not only mismanaged at the time, but previous relationships I was mismanaging in many ways. And at that time, it really just came to a head. And, when people ask me about, now that I talk about narcissism all the time, they tell me about their family and all this stuff. I'm like, well, how do you wake up a narcissist? And it's like, well, when something happens that a narcissist is trying to prevent, but they finally can't prevent it, one of two things will happen. Either that event will cause them to wake up because they realize that their life is falling apart. And if they don't do it, they're either going to lose their life or lose people or lose everything, or they double down.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And so that's really, from what my personal experience, is what usually happens.
Yeah.
So in my experience, I was done with doubling down.
Yeah.
And I just was like, okay, well, I have to go to therapy. I have to be accountable to everybody and everything that I've done, to people that I've hurt, and I gotta just come clean and confess all of it. And that's what I had to do.
Yeah. And so there are different forms of narcissism, right? And so what yours is you were diagnosed with what?
I think it would probably be classified as covert narcissism.
Okay.
So you just it's the kind of narcissist that isn't necessarily always easily identifiable.
Okay.
Because, back then I would present, myself as, always having it together, always, in public, very, leadership type of, personality type, always willing, to put myself in a position that would make me look a certain way to the public.
Yeah.
And I think that it's very hard to identify narcissists that way because they look like good people.
Yeah.
And sometimes there's just a good person that's doing that.
Exactly.
So you can't really tell. So that's why they call them covert narcissists.
Okay. Yeah.
But the thing that really identifies that kind of person is if they are doing it for their own image.
Okay. Yeah.
They don't have anything that they can recognize as their true self. They don't know who they are.
Wow.
How could they? They don't have any sort of emotions that can lead them to that realization because they don't recognize their own emotions. They hide them away in service to their image.
Yeah, okay.
And everything is in service to the image. So that's the kind of narcissist that I was. And I say I'm a narcissist now. I say that because I still have to be on top of it.
Right.
Because in situations, it can try to rear its head and I have to be on top of it.
For sure.
I have to allow myself to not touch it, not mess with that situation or that person or whatever. And I just go another direction.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's definitely a self-management process.
Okay. Yeah. So it's a process and it's something that if you're not on top of, like you said, it's insidious. It could sneak up on you before you know you're back to old habits.
It's hard to detect if you're not completely honest with yourself about everything. And if, like I said, it's insidious, like you said, it's insidious in that way. And sometimes, I've gotten to the point where I've reduced all of the major things that I was doing in the past. And now it's very, very minor things that I need to make sure that I am whittling down as much as possible.
But so how does one know that they're a narcissist? They're struggling with something like that. Like if you suspect that about yourself, I mean, how do you know? You have to go to therapy and find out, or?
That's really the best way.
Yeah.
I can't make any recommendations because I'm not a licensed therapist or anything like that. But from my own experience, I think that if somebody struggles with understanding how to be empathetic in general.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how do you recognize other people's emotions?
Right.
If you can't really recognize their emotions and feel them,
Yeah.
that might be a sign.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the narcissism is a spectrum.
Spectrum. Yeah.
There are, if we were to take it a scale from like 0 to 10,
Mm-hmm.
on the high side, above 5, you have the kind of outward narcissists that
Okay.
feed their own ego.
Yeah.
On the low end, you have what they've coined as an egoist, which is somebody that is actually sacrificing themselves in service to others.
Okay.
So they will actually, my wife calls it gaslighting yourself
Yeah.
into thinking you're not good enough.
Oh, wow.
So that you sacrifice and please others. So
Okay.
that's a form of narcissism.
Whoa. Yeah.
But it doesn't serve the ego like the other kind of narcissism that I have. And so it's a spectrum. But it does have to do with recognizing your own emotions.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you can't recognize your own emotions, that might be a sign. And if you can't recognize those in others, like feel empathy for them, then you definitely might need to seek out therapy and dig deeper into what that means.
But doesn't that go into sociopathic?
It does. It can go into that, the extreme versions of mental illness start with not being able to process your own emotions.
Yeah.
And the deeper that goes, the more you disassociate from who you are.
Okay.
Until you're left with almost, like a psychopathic version of a person. Yeah. So it can stretch into that.
Right.
I don't know a whole lot about it, but I know I've read about it going into those extremes.
So, I've been in a relationship. It was I feel like this individual might have had those tendencies. It was strange because I had never been with somebody who struggled with taking accountability, like no matter what.
Right.
Even if it's presented right in front of your face, like they would not take accountability. And I found that really strange and really frustrating, but then it got to the point, kind of like you're saying, with the emotions, and this might have just been this particular situation, but I felt like this person was not true to their emotions. They were kind of faked or emulated, like you were saying,
Right.
like they were trying to emulate how they thought they should feel.
Sure.
And it was it was very frustrating because if there's all these lies and you can never take accountability for them, then it's like there's zero trust. And where do you go from there?
Can't.
Yeah. So did that affect your relationships too?
Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
It was a fight to have to get back to a sense of normalcy.
Yeah.
But it required a lot of transparency.
Yep.
It required building up that trust again, being very open to communication and just trying to learn how to be a healthy person from almost from scratch.
Wow.
Like if you as a narcissist, if you don't have any connection to your own emotions. I remember when I was struggling with my artwork for that very reason, and my wife was like, "What makes you angry?" And I was like, "I don't know, tardiness." She was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "You have no idea what makes you angry." And I was like, I don't think I do.
Whoa.
And she was like, "Well, you need to figure that out."
Yeah.
And when I went back to therapy, because I went to therapy several times, and when I went back again, I was like, okay, I really got to figure this out. And that's whenever it started to click in, where I was like, okay, I can't paint something, like we were going back to the earlier conversation, I can't paint something that resonates with people if I don't know where it comes from in myself.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I've gotten in touch with that, now I can actually do it.
Yeah.
And I can tell the difference. Like I look back at my early work and I'm like, oof.
Yeah.
I was like, well, it's good execution. I just don't feel anything with it.
Yeah.
And so now that I can do it, it like almost pours out of me.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Dude, that's like a whole new world for you,
It
probably.
is. It's completely new and refreshing.
Yeah.
And not as, I used to always be, I remember when I would have such terrible anxiety because of the narcissism, I didn't know what anxiety was. I didn't know I was anxious.
Oh,
And I
wow.
remember I was like on social media, like, anxiety this, anxiety that. I was like, I don't know what that is. I never had it.
Yeah.
I was like literally suffering from it all the time. But I
Dang.
didn't know how it felt. Like I
Yeah.
couldn't recognize those feelings.
Yeah.
And so now I feel a lot more peace because of that. I still deal with anxiety like everybody else
Yeah.
does, but it doesn't hit me, quite like it used to.
Yeah.
Not nearly as much at all. Yeah,
Wow,
it's
man,
crazy.
that's cool, man. Kudos for taking, accountability and going and getting treatment for that,
Yeah, it's
I think
ongoing. I'm
that's
still
pretty
in therapy.
awesome.
I'm still in therapy.
Yeah.
I
It's
don't,
so
I
cool.
don't see that it is as being a like, oh, I got to close this loop now that
Okay,
I've
yeah.
figured this out. I keep kind of my foot on that gas pedal a little
Yeah.
bit so that I don't find myself falling back
Uh-huh.
into old habits. I just always kind of keep it there
That's
if I
right,
need
man.
to.
I love
Yeah,
that. So for me, I can relate to that as an addict. If I'm not, like you said, I love that analogy. If my foot is not on the gas pedal in some way
yeah,
going toward recovery
yeah,
every day,
yeah,
then my foot's on the brake,
yeah.
essentially. Like I could be
Hmm.
going the other way.
Yeah.
So I get that, man,
Hmm.
is you have to stay on top of it.
Yeah, you do.
And that's cool, man. Being self-aware and being proactive about it.
Yeah.
That's really
Yeah, yeah,
cool.
I think it's
I
a really
love
healthy
that.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's such a great thing. And I know a lot of people are going through that process
That's
now.
right. Yeah.
I talk to a lot of people that are going
Mm-hmm.
through that process, and
I bet.
it's such a positive but difficult thing to have to go through.
Yeah.
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 Hmm.
So what do you feel? I want to ask you about something. So you said you had made a comment on Facebook the other day. You said, "Man, there's a couple of my paintings are at thrift shops." You said
Hmm.
it might be time for change.
Yeah.
And what did you mean by that? Like, do you feel? And I understand, like, of course, seeing your paintings that you don't obviously want to see that all the time. You want people to be cherishing but like somebody said, it was probably from an estate sale or
Right.
something like
Yeah.
that. But I feel like there's more to that in the sense
There
that
is.
it's time for something else. What do you mean by that?
Moving.
What, moving like out of San Angelo?
Hmm.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah.
Do people know this?
No.
Oh, dude, when? No.
Probably before the end of the year, if not early next year.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
soon.
Yeah, that's soon. It
Whoa.
took a lot of time to come to that decision. And
Yeah.
again, I don't have like the Facebook comment was talking about, the thrift store.
Yeah.
I've found my art in thrift stores plenty of times.
Yeah.
In fact, I like when some people that know who my artwork is, relates to who I am. My narcissism tries to come out there, like they know who I am.
Yeah.
I,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't want to be recognized for that. If they
Yeah.
love the art, I love that they love the art.
Yeah.
And if they find it and they take it home, wonderful.
Yeah,
They
that's cool.
definitely deserve to have it.
For
and,
sure.
and the fact that they could afford it was even better.
Yeah, that is cool.
Because
Yeah.
I know my art kind of starts to go up in price and
Yeah.
everybody can afford it. So
That's
when somebody
right.
can have it, I'd love that. So I
Yeah.
have no problem with that. But seeing that artwork that I created back then and knowing that I created it to serve my own ego and now I'm seeing it pop up again
Ooh.
makes me feel like I've oversaturated, the city with my
Ooh,
ego,
okay.
Whoa,
Okay.
and it makes me feel like, I realize that somebody found it and was grateful to have found it and they got it and they love it. Great.
Yeah.
But for me, it just reminds me of the fact that I oversaturated myself in the city. And although people see it as a positive thing, I see it as a negative thing.
I see.
And for me, starting over gives me a chance to go about doing it the way that I want to do it now.
Yeah.
And I just don't get that here.
I see.
Because
Yeah.
you do it for 10, 11 years with that in mind, with
Mhm.
serving the ego in mind. You can't get away from it.
Oh,
You know,
man,
you
I
can't
get
even
it.
get away from the idea that somebody has of you from back then.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
it still permeates the space.
That's right.
So that's what I meant by that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you know where you're going?
Montana.
No way.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Montana.
Yeah.
How come Montana?
Beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's also because of work.
Yeah.
I work remote, but a lot of the folks that work in the company live there.
Okay.
So it's also kind of a hybrid situation.
Nice.
But it's a beautiful state.
Yeah, it is.
We've been there many times. We just came back from there.
Cool.
So, it was a hard decision to make. We invested a lot of time and energy in the community.
Yeah.
But again, to think that I have such a hold on the community would definitely give way to my narcissism.
Right. Yeah.
And I don't really see myself that way anymore.
That's
I
cool.
feel like,
Yeah.
the right person is going to come in and start doing some of the similar stuff that we were doing
Right.
with the community. And, San Angelo has a lot of young artists that I think are well capable of being able to do that. They have a lot more experience in certain things that I don't have,
That's cool.
that I
Yeah.
think that would, carry it over doing other things that they're interested in. And
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy though. I can't believe you're moving. That's wild, dude.
Yeah.
That's crazy. It's been a long run, you know?
It's
It's
been
been, I mean, you've been here a long time now, right? You said 10 or 11 years, but you've been here longer than that.
Oh, off and on. Yeah.
Okay.
When I joined the military, we'd come back and forth.
Okay,
So
yeah.
I've been to back and forth in San Angelo since '01.
Oh, yeah.
So what's
Mhm.
that? 23 years?
23 years.
23 years. Yeah.
Yep.
That's a haul.
Yeah.
That's a long haul.
Man.
I'll still
Yep.
be coming back. I mean, my daughter
Cool.
lives here, so I'm still going to come see her.
Yeah.
She's older. She's 19.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a son in Houston where I'll be going to see him
Yeah.
very frequently. And so, yeah, but we thought it was time for a change. So
Yeah.
that's why
I get that though.
Yeah,
I get that. I wouldn't mind doing that myself, man. Montana. Did you ever watch Yellowstone?
I've seen it a few times.
Yeah.
That they film it there in that city that we're.
Oh, in this, really?
Yeah, they film
Cool.
part of it there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Man, I mean, a lot of people feel this way, but that made me fall in love with Montana just
Beautiful.
because I'd never seen it like that. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah.
God, do you know, are you going to live like on some land, or do you know where you're going to live?
Yeah, the Missoula, Montana, small, very comparable to ours actually.
Cool. Yeah.
And so they've got a great connection to nature out there
Mhm.
and outdoor activities.
You like
and
that kind of stuff?
I never used to. I wasn't really an
Wow.
outdoor person before.
Yeah?
I didn't like to get dirty,
Yeah.
But now I'm into it. I mean, I
Yeah.
skateboarded here, so I
Yeah.
was a sweaty mess when I got here. I brought another t-shirt.
I love that. Dude.
But yeah, being outside has really helped my mental health a lot.
Yeah.
Being
yeah.
cooped up in the house really doesn't help with it at all in any sense whatsoever.
That's right.
So connecting to nature and being outside more is been great. Especially, I don't know how old you are, but I just turned 41 in June. So
I'm 38. Yeah. Right
so
behind
you get to that, you get to that part of your life, and you have to start doing things that create more longevity.
you. Mhm.
And being outside more is definitely one of the things. We did start making that transition here by,
Yeah.
we'll take hikes to the state park, which I never ever used. I'd never been to the state park.
Yeah, it's cool, man. I like the state park.
And only recently have we been going on hikes out there.
Very good.
And every Saturday we go on about a 7-mile hike. And
Oh, nice.
and so that's been helping a lot. And we walk in the mornings to the gym.
Yeah, nice.
We'll walk
Yeah.
from Toohig down the river up to downtown, go to the gym, walk back.
Oh, that's good
And
for
it's
you.
a nice,
Yes,
yeah,
that's so good.
That's so nice. It's
Yeah.
walking has been incredible. I love it.
Oh,
Love it,
yeah.
love it.
There's nothing better than being outside like that. Sunlight therapy. Oh, it's amazing for you.
Mhm.
It really is.
Yeah, great. So
yeah.
good.
That's cool. Montana. So you're saying pretty soon, like into this year or next year?
Before winter time, hopefully. If not, then it'll be springtime next year.
Yeah.
And you don't want to move in the middle of winter.
That's right.
Especially in
yeah.
Montana. You don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So it would be either or.
Okay.
Either
Yeah.
or. Yeah.
Dang, dude, you're gonna be missed. That's crazy. Yeah.
I'll be coming back every once in a while. But
Yeah, that's good. That's good. But tell us about the nude art show. I want to know a lot about this.
Yeah, I hope you do a good spot for this, because I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of people that remember the nude art show that we used to do
Yeah.
when I had the gallery. I'll tell you a quick story about how it started and
Okay.
where we are now. So we did it 6 times in a row back
Wow.
then. The first time that we ever did the nude show, I remember going to talk to Howard Taylor at the museum
Yeah.
at that time. And I was asking for advice as a new gallery owner. I was like, how do I do shows? He was like, do something that's unexpected
Okay.
and shake it up. He's
Yeah.
like, don't be afraid to do that.
Nice.
So we went back to the gallery to talk to Crystal, and I was like, what do you think we should do? And I think I remember her saying that nudity is not really something that's embraced here.
Yep.
So we should do a nude art show. And I was like, okay, let's do it. How do we make sure that we don't offend anybody? She was like, well, people are going to be offended.
Yep.
And I remember, because I used to at that time when we were planning and announcing the show and promoting it, people would call the comptroller, and the comptroller would call me, and they'd be like, hey, look, like, people don't want this show to happen. You've got to make
Whoa.
sure that you have sales tax IDs for the artists. And I was like, Okay, yeah, sure, we can do that.
Yeah.
I remember getting one call from a lady that was just like, you don't need to be doing this show.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I think I do now, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you don't want me to do
Oh,
it, then I definitely need to do it.
exactly.
Following Howard's advice, I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
okay, that definitely needs to happen. And so
Wow.
I think I remember Crystal suggesting that we do the nude models
Yeah.
at that time, which I was like, that might be pushing it. And she was like, oh no,
Ooh.
it's gonna go great.
Yeah.
She was like, we'll paint them like, but they got to be fully naked. And I was like,
Yeah.
okay, but we didn't tell anybody we were doing that. They
Oh.
thought they were just coming
Oh
to see the
man.
nude
Yeah.
paintings, and and we had them in the back of the gallery. So when you come in, you couldn't see that. You go into the back room, and there they are.
Mm-hmm.
And it was such a hit. People were just like a a bit flustered, I think. And
Yeah.
I remember the second year was better than the first because we had people lining out outside the
Whoa.
door, and there were these little old ladies that were coming to check out the
Yeah.
nude models that were there, and they
Yeah.
were just having a
Oh
ball.
yeah.
They
That's great.
thought it was a hoot. So
Yeah.
we continued to do it until I thought that it was probably a bit overdone at
Oh
that
yeah.
point. 6 times in a row is a bit
Right.
much.
Yeah.
What else? What's new
Yeah.
in nudity?
Yeah.
That you hasn't been seen. So
Yeah.
Tim over at Angry Cactus hit me up, and he used to come to the shows, and
Yeah.
I think he entered a few of them back then because he paints as well.
Oh yeah. That's right.
And he just was he told me on the phone, he's like, man, I really want to bring this back. I loved doing it. I
Yeah.
loved when you did it. It was so much fun. I think it'd be a great thing to bring back now. And I
Yep.
said, yeah, if you want to do it, we'll do it. So with that in mind, we decided to bring it back. But the gallery at the time was so small. We were creative with the space that we had, but this one, he's really going all out. I'm there to
Nice.
support and help make sure the art is there.
Yeah.
The couple of different things that we're doing with this show is we're having a lot more nude models.
Wow. Like 8, right? Up to 8 or more.
I think it's close to that number.
Yeah. Nice.
I don't know exactly how many he's lined up, but we've lined up.
How many males and how many females?
I think it's even, but
Is it? Okay.
must be 3 or 4 ratio,
Okay.
something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
You'll have to hit him up for that
For
because
sure.
I don't
Yeah.
know exactly he's locked down for the nude
Okay.
models, but there's going to be the traditional painted ones, obviously walking around.
Uh-huh.
Then we have one that's going to be modeling on a chair, like a lazy chair,
Uh-huh. Yeah.
and that person's going to be there to model for us to have sketch pads for anybody that wants to just doodle.
Oh, yeah.
Artist, non-artist makes no difference.
That's great.
And
Yeah.
they'll model for you for an hour,
Yeah.
and you can sketch, and then we'll actually have an artist live painting that nude model there.
Cool. Yeah.
And then I think he mentioned something about a sushi,
Yeah.
platter
Yeah.
with the nude model there,
Yeah.
tastefully done.
Right.
Nothing that's gonna
Right.
cause the health department to shout out loud. Tim knows.
Yeah.
Tim knows what he's doing.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, and so that's kind of the plan in terms
Cool.
of the show, as well as some other tidbits, and obviously the artwork that's going to be there.
Yeah.
And so it's going to be a bigger show than it was back when we did it in the gallery space
Right.
that we had. This is going to be, and of course the drinks and the food are all included in that.
Yep.
So the
That's right.
tickets are pricey, but it's going to be well worth it
Oh,
because
yeah.
of the fact that there's going to be so much activity there. It's going to be memorable.
Yep.
And it's not like anything that we used to do
Oh
before.
yeah, dude. That's
in
to
terms of
me. It's
scale.
120, right?
Yeah.
Is it? Yeah, man. Yeah. It's been how long since you've done this in your gallery? I mean, 2018, but probably before that.
2017, I want to say
Yeah.
2017, 2018.
There's nothing like that here, man. It's so worth it. And alcohol and food is included. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's interactive. Does that just
interactive.
mean you're drawing the art, the model, or what? Or
Yeah,
what does
you're-
interactive mean?
Yeah, interactive in the sense that you get to engage with the art itself.
Okay, yeah.
And obviously the model's gonna be walking around, so obviously you don't get to engage with them in that sense, but you get to be around them
Yeah.
and be up and close and personal with nudity.
Yeah.
And it's we go back to the narcissist topic. Narcissists have struggle with nudity because
Whoa.
it represents a part of sexuality that narcissists don't understand.
What?
They see people as objects because of narcissism. So when you can be around nudity and see that these people are not objects, they are just people,
Yeah.
and the nudity represents sexuality in the healthiest sense that you can think of it, that is an important thing to distinguish between what people have struggled with in terms of, lewd, pornographic,
Uh-huh.
nudity. That is an objectification of an individual
Yeah.
and their image.
Right.
Sexuality is understanding the emotional part that comes with sexuality.
Okay. Yeah.
And nudity, being up close and personal like that, helps destroy the image that narcissism creates.
Okay.
So for me, that's the value that I see in
Wow.
nudity.
Yeah. Yeah.
Other people might find that and see the benefit in that from that perspective when they come in person.
Whoa, interesting.
And other people that just appreciate it will know its value when they're there. So that's
yeah. So in a sense, you're saying instead of objectifying somebody who's standing there nude, you're seeing them in a different light.
Right.
It's still sexuality, but it's not this objectified pornography. Yeah, that's really interesting. Yeah, because you're right. Like how often do you get to experience that? If you're seeing someone nude, you're watching pornography.
You're either looking at yourself,
right?
Maybe your partner,
yeah,
or it's probably something that's pornographic, either on in a normal movie, or on a website or something like that.
That's why that's important. You're right.
Yeah, that's why it's important to see it from that angle, because it removes the context of that, because you're there with other people.
Yeah.
You're there with men and women. So it's very difficult to see it from that perspective, objectification, when you're there with other people. So it kind of forces you to have to change that perspective when you're there. I like that. And that's a healthy thing to do for community.
It is, man. So that right there, I'm going to take that as a clip. Yeah. If people can just see that, the ones that maybe don't understand the nude art, so that's terrific, man. Yeah. That's pretty cool. That's never been explained to me like that. Yeah. I like that. That's awesome. So it's going to be August 6th, right? At the Angry Cactus.
Angry Cactus.
Do you know what Tim's cooking? What's he going to have available to eat?
He has not told me anything about the food, but if you've been to Angry Cactus, I think you can put your trust in him that he's going to do something very cool. And he's so passionate about it,
he is.
And he probably will. I don't know if he wants me to say this or not, but Tim is not making any money off of this.
Oh, wow.
Looking at the tickets at $120 a piece.
Yeah.
He's not making any money off of it. It's all going towards making this event really fun and interesting.
Cool.
In the future, I think there'd be opportunities to be able to monetize it, but that money was going to go directly back into the food and the service workers and all that stuff to make sure that it's a great experience.
Yeah.
So the 120 is just to make sure that we can have a good event.
Okay.
It's not so that I'm not making any money off it. I'm volunteering my time and energy, to help with this event just because it's a fun, and I think it's good for the community.
Cool. Yeah.
For the reason we just stated.
Yeah.
So, I just want to make sure that that's known, as we're doing it because we have a passion for artwork and for what I think it represents for people.
Yeah. I like that, man. That's cool. I'm excited about it. How many tickets are left? I mean, it's filling up, right? Fast.
It's filling up. I don't know how many tickets are left. We're going to be giving away tickets, actually.
Oh, cool.
So, look out for that. I'll probably try to post it today or tomorrow.
All right.
We're going to be giving away a few tickets, and so that way we can help, promote the show a little bit. But yeah, the tickets are going, and I don't know how many are left. Tim hasn't told me. Again, he's more on the planning side of the whole event. Right. I'm there to just help with the artwork itself.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I'm trying to get him on here next. So I said, man, it'd be perfect if you come on after Alejandro. That way we can, it'll tie in good, to the event.
Sure.
So are you going to have any pieces in the show?
I'm going to try. Nice. I definitely told Tim that I would. So, at that point you kind of have to. Yeah. So I'm definitely going to try to have some pieces there.
Cool.
I got some stuff that I'm working on currently. So it'll be a fun event. There's so many great artists. I've got a waiting list of artists.
That's what I heard. Yeah.
There's a waiting list of artists that are trying to get in. We hit capacity because the space is limited.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't want it to be intrusive in the sense that you can't walk around because it's everywhere and you're just kind of limited to space. So we want to be respectful of the space and the artists themselves. So we had to limit the amount of artists we could take in, but it filled up, I think, within a couple days. We already filled our artists. So right now I have a backlog of artists that are waiting for any type of opportunity to get in.
Yeah.
And the art that I've seen so far is really diverse. It's amazing to see everybody's take on nude art. There's some local artists that are going to be in it. Inks is going to be in it.
Yeah.
Gabe's in it. He was in the other,
Yeah.
on the
Yeah.
podcast. Who else? I think I tried to get Ashley, but she's so busy. I couldn't get
Oh,
Ashley
yeah.
to submit any artwork. But
Inks
there's
is cool.
Inks is good.
Yeah,
He's cool.
I've been wanting to interview him. He's interesting.
He's really, really
Do
cool.
you do that? Reminded me of something. He was doing a mural over here. Do you do any of that?
I've done murals before.
Yeah.
I have to say I'm not enjoying them anymore.
Oh, how come?
It's such a labor.
Oh,
The person that told me about this when I first started was Crystal. I wasn't even doing murals at the time, but she said it's labor intensive,
I can imagine.
especially in Texas weather. It's so spontaneous. It can be too windy or too cold or too hot.
Yeah.
In either case, I think you're going to be uncomfortable even in the best conditions.
Yeah.
So I don't like doing murals. I'll do them if I have to, but honestly, I price myself out of it.
Yeah.
I put it to such a price that
Yeah.
it will only make it worth it for me and my discomfort at that price level. And I just, most people don't hit me up because I'm
Right.
like, I
can't
don't
afford it,
want to
yeah.
do it, but if
Yeah.
I'm gonna do it, here's the price that I have.
Yeah, I feel you, dude. That's cool. So, what are three? I always do this with everybody.
Sure.
What are three things that you're grateful for right now in your life?
Oh my gosh, mental health.
Yeah, nice.
Mental health. Probably the sense I have with my own ability to create emotional presence.
Ooh, nice.
I'm not in the past. I'm not in the future. I'm right here.
Yeah.
So being able to sit and recognize that even in the most mundane, boring places you can imagine.
Yeah.
I have that sense of gratitude for just being able to be here. And then I think the other one is my family.
Cool.
I could never be so grateful with my family before because I was so focused on myself.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I didn't know how to prioritize them.
Yeah.
And so now it's just those three things are my main priorities.
Yeah.
My mental health, being able to be here and not anywhere else in my mind, and being, very close to my family.
That's really good.
So that's a free. You would think art, but after I've realized how much art was trying to serve me,
Yeah.
I realized it's the other way around. It should be the other way around.
Yeah,
I'm in service to the art.
Yeah.
The art is not in service to me. It should be the other way around.
That's right. That's
And-
good.
And so yeah.
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 Cool. Well, thank you again for
Thanks
doing
for
this.
having
This
me,
was
man.
awesome,
It's
man.
awesome to be
This
here.
was really good.
Yeah.
All right, guys, that's it. This has been the Matt Cutrer Report, and this was Alejandro Castañon, and we will see you later, hopefully at the Nude Art Show. See you later. Dude, thank you.
Hey,
This
man.
was awesome, man.
Yeah, great
This was so
conversation.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, great conversation.